Hello everyone, and welcome back to Age of Noob. Our coverage of the Sultans Ascend DLC continues, and this time, we're taking a closer look at the Holy Roman Empire's variant civilization, the Order of the Dragon. I have upscaled all screenshots as usual, and I'll use some HRE footage for placeholders. Okay, with that out of the way, let's dive right in and begin with the civilization summary. The Order of the Dragon boasts quality over quantity. With extensively trained and lavishly outfitted nobles bolstering their ranks, the Order of the Dragon excels at raising an elite army unlike any other. The Order of the Dragon is inspired by the chivalric order founded by Sigismund of Luxembourg in 1408, who later became the Holy Roman Emperor from 1433 till 1437. Okay, let's get a bit more insight on how the Order of the Dragon plays out in Age of Empires 4. Although more expensive than other civilizations, the soldiers of the Order of the Dragon stand without equal. Playing the Order of the Dragon means commanding a small, elite force that is not to be underestimated. Equipped with superior armor, weaponry, and training, the Order of the Dragon's military lives longer, hits harder, and attacks from greater range than their counterparts. Each unit has specific traits that enhance its capabilities, allowing players to employ a variety of powerful military compositions and counters to thwart their enemies. The focus on quality carries over into the Order of the Dragon's economy. Villagers are more expensive, but are hardier, gather faster, and construct buildings more quickly. Okay, before I add more context, let's go through each age first to get a better grasp on a few more insights. From Age 1, the Order of the Dragon centers its economy around the Gilded Villager, an expensive villager that collects resources more efficiently and constructs buildings faster. In Age 2, the Order of the Dragon gains access to many powerful units, including the Gilded Spearman, an exceptional anti-cavalry unit capable of dealing area of effect damage to buildings after researching its unique technology. In Age 3, the Gilded Crossbowman becomes available to the Order of the Dragon. This elite crossbow unit possesses greater range and even higher bonus damage against heavy units than a normal crossbow. And finally, in Age 4, the Order of the Dragon may research the Gilded War Horses technology, allowing Gilded Knights to take significantly less damage when performing devastating charge attacks. Alright, that was a lot of information, so let's take a step back and break down everything we've learned so far. First of all, I can already predict some angry Redditors complaining about how the Order of the Dragon will have a broken economy. But as I have been doing so far for all other new civilizations, you need to remember that the Order of the Dragon does not get all of the bonuses and mechanics of the Holy Roman Empire. For example, you should have noticed that there is absolutely no mention of the prelates at all. Now, I cannot confirm or deny any further detail as you all know, but again, the Order of the Dragon does not enjoy some of the economic benefits its parent civilization does. That said, this doesn't mean that they won't have a strong economy. Yes, the Gilded Villagers do cost more, but they are basically the best in the game at everything. You also have to remember that early raids against the Order of the Dragon's economy is also more difficult, given that killing their villagers in the first place is tougher. And with such incredible spearmen defending against knights and horsemen early on, and Gilded Villagers constructing fortifications faster, it will be tough to do economic damage in the Dark and Feudal Ages when playing against them. The second thing that you should have noticed here is the devs' hyper-focus on military units and what they're capable of across all 4 ages. For all other civilizations, we got more insights on how each age played out with a unique landmark, bonus, or any other unique mechanic such as the Byzantine aqueducts. Alas, there's no specific mention for any of that here. This is because the Order of the Dragon, by design, is much simpler compared to some of the other civilizations that are coming out soon, and this is a good thing. Not every civilization should be as complex as the Byzantines, so the Order of the Dragon will be a much more straightforward civ to pick up for newer players especially. Okay, let's cover the featured unique units now, then I'll circle back on a few additional points. The devs have singled out 3 unique units, and those are the gilded versions of your otherwise typical military units. The first is a Gilded Archer, who is a highly skilled bowman able to attack from a greater range with incredible speed. The second is the Gilded Landsknecht, who is an imposing light infantry unit possessing a devastating sweep attack that is capable of erasing entire armies in seconds. And the third are the Gilded Knights, who are powerful heavy cavalry clad in resplendent armor, enabling superior survivability. I absolutely love the design of these units and their dark armor, which is also featured on their fantastic splash art. These units were of course what we originally saw in the very first screenshot that was released, but back then most of us thought that these were simply reskins for the campaigns. That said, I want to underline something the devs have shared. Equipped with superior armor, weaponry, and training, the Order of the Dragon's military lives longer, hits harder, and attacks from greater range than their counterparts. Each unit has specific traits that enhance its capabilities, allowing players to employ a variety of more powerful military compositions and counters to thwart their enemies. These two lines confirm a few things. First, although the devs only mentioned a few units in their civilization showcase, they've confirmed that every single military unit is gilded and special in some way. For example, despite them not being featured specifically, we also do see the Gilded Horsemen as well as the Gilded Men-at-Arms in the release screenshots as well. On top of that, some of them will boast unique capabilities as mentioned, such as the Gilded Spearmen doing AoE damage to buildings, Gilded Archers firing faster and further, and the Gilded Knights being sturdier when charging. Admittedly, when I first read all of this, I immediately thought about their insane population efficiency, as my initial gut reaction was that these units would be truly broken in the late game. I do find it very odd that the devs haven't mentioned anything about this at all, but rest assured that there is some balance around population efficiency as it relates to these elite units. I just can't mention how exactly. That being said, this still does raise an interesting question about engagements as it relates to Lanchester's laws. When players of at least average skill level consider engaging with one another, they can still roughly estimate which side is likely to win the engagement based on the rough size of the armies. Yes, some engagements are hard to call, but for the most part, the average player does know that willingly engaging a similar army composition when outnumbered is a bad idea. This isn't necessarily the case with the Order of the Dragon, and it's not as intuitive at first. Hence, although the Order of the Dragon is definitely beginner-friendly overall, players will still have to get used to how peculiarly strong their elite forces are, as sometimes you're more than happy to take some engagements even when you are heavily outnumbered, and that's because of how insanely powerful your units are. It's weird seeing a smaller force of gilded units decimate a larger army, but remember, they do come at a very steep cost. In other words, having a small elite force is both an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. At lower levels, I predict that the Order of the Dragon will shine more due to how focused the fights are, and how much easier it is to control said armies given the small numbers. Lower elo players are unlikely to get raided, have multiple fronts, or deal with multiple angles of aggression. Hence, I predict that a focused elite force will work wonders here. At higher levels, on the other hand, playing the Order of the Dragon will likely be trickier. A smaller military means that reacting to raids or having multiple fronts will be a challenge to deal with, and civilizations with higher mobility will be able to take advantage of the fact that the gilded units cannot be everywhere without stretching too thin. Also, regardless of how strong your units are, Lanchester's laws will still apply here, and it will be especially more punishing at smaller numbers. Hence, top players will likely rely more on their strong passive defenses and sturdy villagers, and try not to spread too thin or be caught out of position, either offensively or defensively. To summarize, the Order of the Dragon is one of my favorite new civilizations coming to Age of Empires 4. It is both easy to pick up and has tons of passive bonuses that players will be able to take advantage of without needing much practice. Their straightforward design, sturdy economy, and elite soldiers should make them a fan-favorite civilization to play, but remember that positioning their concentrated elite military will be more important than ever at higher levels of play. Hence, while the Order of the Dragon might be easy on the micro side of things compared to other civilizations, their macro, positioning, and decision-making will likely decide the outcome of the game for them more often than not. Well, that wraps up everything I can share so far about the new Holy Roman Empire variant civilization, the Order of the Dragon. With the 5th civilization now covered, we only have the mighty Japanese left to go over for the Sultans Ascent DLC, so be sure to subscribe to Age of Noob and tune back soon to not miss out on the Japanese overview. Many thanks to our YouTube members for their continued support, and please consider joining as a member as well if you'd like to support me further. Thank you. As always, thanks for watching everyone, let me know what you think of the Order of the Dragon so far, and until next time, adi.